Hi guys, you beautiful people out there, look at our weather. It is awful. It is absolutely awful. It's been pissing it down. The wind is like 21 miles an hour. The caravan is shaking a little bit, but it's not too bad. The hauling is quite sturdy, so I'll just take you there 1 minute. There's the hauling there, blowing about a bit. Just blowing about a bit, but we've got everything. It's okay, it's all strapped down. But yeah, it's all fun and games, this is. And we've got the tennis on. Good to go watch Andy Murray now, because he's just coming on. I love a bit of tennis. Yeah, so we've got yeah, the winds are really, really strong at the moment.
She is quite competitive. Yeah, probably not the same as me yet, but I'll drop that into her as I can. You're the sixth player to
Yep, there's the oh, let's just zoom out a minute. There's our what they call them, windbreakers. Well, it's supposed to be a windbreaker.
The wind has broken it.
The wind's broken it, yeah. So yeah, it's not breaking the wind is breaking it. So yeah, we've got a bit of bad weather at the moment, but we're moving on tomorrow, so I think we're going a bit more inland, don't we tell you?
A little bit inland tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I did say that I was going to tell you a little bit more about this place, so Snowdonia. But I'm not very good at reading, as you know. I'm dyslexic, so I'm going to give it to Terry. I'm going to hand it over to Terry. He's going to tell you a bit about the place that we're at.
I don't know if you've seen in the video the dry stone walls. They were put there in the Bronze Age, and the stone walls have been built by farmers for more than 3 million years across England, Scotland and Wales. The earliest examples date to around 1600 BC during the Bronze Age, and can be found scattered throughout the Orkney Isles, Dartmoor, Bodmin Moor and Cornwall. And what they do, they separate a field from another field. So a farmer might grow corn in one field and he might grow wheat in another field. And the dry stone walls separate each field, and also puts a boundary between his farm and the farm next door. Now where we are at the moment is in Snowdonia, the national park in Snowdonia. It goes for miles, and the map, they got all the mountains, and one of the biggest mountains here in England and Wales is Snowdonia. Many climbers have climbed that mountain on the north face, but it's about 100 miles to the north of where we are. We can't see it at the moment because there's a bloody great hill in the way. But the Snowdonia Mountains and coast have evolved from a rich tapestry of history, culture and landscape that dates back to prehistoric pagan times, followed by the Roman occupation. Excuse me. I just want to die for a minute.
He's eating sweets, guys.
The Roman occupation and the rise of Christianity, the age of the medieval princes, the Vikings, Anglo-Saxons and Normans invaded throughout the Industrial Revolution and modern times. and there's evidence of this historical errors can still be seen in the dramatic landscapes of the mountains, the valleys and the coastlines of the region, from the network of the Celtic hills, forts, religious shrines, standing stones, magnificent rings of medieval castle, churches and fascinating industrial remains. The area is peppered with hundreds of prehistoric sites, and one of the most important and famous towns of the famous is the town of Giants, a significant Iron Age settlement that dominates the Lynn Peninsula on the slopes of the Ye Eiffel, 400 feet above the Irish Sea. The settlement contains considerable remains, including 150 stone huts. A huge rampant were built 200 BC. Many of the remaining walls are still over 4 meters high in places. With the collapse of the Roman Empire and the departure of the Roman legions, other invaders, despite their difficult mountainous terrain of the area, eventually succeeded in occupying the land. The Vikings, Anglo-Saxons and the Normans came and they left their mark on the area. They fueled a period that saw Prince of Gwynedd built numerous castles, strongholds in the endeavour to protect their lands from the invaders and each other. The castle of Doladar and Dolwadalin were built in strategic positions with the heartland of Snowdonia to control the two principal routes through the mountains. Seatham Castle is another fine example that sits in the headland overlooking Tramadog Bay and towers above the town of Seath. The castle was also built by Llewellyn the Great and expanded by Llewellyn the Last. Castle bear other native Welsh castles situated north is also likely to have been built by Llewellyn the Great around 1221. Having captured the native castles, Edward I proceeded to build his own formidable ring of castles in North Wales. The magnificent and awesome World Heritage Site of Carnarvon Castle sits defiantly on the banks of the River Salient and the Menai Straits. It looks today much as it would have when it was finished in 1330. It was built as a military stronghold, but also holds Edward's seat and official residence in Wales. And that's where the Prince of Wales comes from. That's where he was invested, the Prince of Wales, who is now the King of England. Another of Edward I's castle is Harlech Castle, high on the peninsula, overlooking the Bay of Cardigan. And we'll be going to Cardigan, or passing by Cardigan tomorrow when we go to our next campsite. And seeming to rise from the rock on which it stands, it was built by James of St George, Edward I's favoured architect, and took 7 years to complete in 1404. The castle fell to the forces of Owen Gladwell after a long siege, when starvation reduced the determined garrison of just 21 men during the War of the Roses. Now, the War of the Roses happened back in England, and it was between the Lancaster people and who was the other ones? It was the next county on.
You-
So you have Lancaster and some other county. And it was the War of the Roses because one lot had the white rose and the other lot had the red rose. That's why it was called
right.
the War of the Roses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there is still debates going on in pubs and clubs and whether they're red or white rose, or
Right,
and
okay.
then big fights turn out because they're red rose and you're white rose.
Oh, I
And,
never knew that.
yeah. And
But the red rose is the red rose of England because the rugby players have it on their shirts.
no, it's the English red rose. This
Oh,
is
really?
the Lancaster and
The other county
the other county,
that you can't remember.
which was the War of the Roses between the two counties.
Oh.
I can't remember it, but it will come to me. And it reduced a determined garrison of just 21 men during the War of the Roses. The castle withstood the longest siege in the history of Britain, which inspired the song The Men of Harlech. It was also a big Roman fortress. The native Celtic society of the tribes that populated the area's Iron Age. Settlements changed completely with the coming of the Romans, but despite the might and sophistication of the Roman armies, they found the Celts and Snowdonia's terrain of formidable opposition. They eventually succeeded in overcoming the indigenous population and occupied many of the hill forts and also built their own encampments in the region. Julius Agricola.
Now you can see why, guys, that I can't read this because I just can't read the words.
Julius Agricola, I think he was the one who invented Coca-Cola, isn't he? Established the first wooden and earth fort in Carnarvon in AD 77. The remains of the Sagonitum site is still visible today. When the advent of Christianity, many ancient monasteries, abbeys and churches were established in the area. The origins of Bangor Cathedral in the university town of the region can be traced back to Celtic times. St. Danielos founded a monastery here in the 6th century around 525 on land, but given by the king of Gwynedd, Malgwen Gwynedd. Yeah, it's all like the history of the area that we're in now. And if you go on Google, you can actually Google the history of Snowdonia. And as one person said, are we in the Yorkshire Dales? No.
That was Jay, bless him.
Jay, bless ya. We're in Wales in the Snowdonia National Park. God bless you all. See you soon.
Thanks, Tel. Cheers. Just show you them pictures up there, guys. If you're wondering, the doggy behind in the picture is my old doggy, Nessa. She died 8 years ago. She was a beauty. She was English Bull Terrier. Loved her to bits. And the other picture is me and my dad on my wedding day in Madeira, when I got married to my beautiful husband.
You don't call me that to me face. You call me all sorts of names.
Anyway, guys, gotta go. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.